Well, if there can be no arrangement, then we are at an impasse.
I'm afraid so. I can't compete with you physically, and you're no match for my brains.
You're that smart.
Let me put it this way. Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, Socrates?
Yes?
Morons.
Really?
Welcome to Morons Mince Movies. I am your host, Moron Sam Munoz, and I'm here with my fellow moron, Uplester Peñalosa II, and Akam. He's not here because he's an original sinner, Arturo. Yes, that's right. Today, we are going to be mincing Ryan Coogler's Sinners,
Pecadores, if you watched it.
Pecadores in Spanish, in South America.
Yeah, man, fucking Sinners.
Directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan.
And Michael C. Jordan.
Michael C. Jordan, his brother.
Brother.
Who knew that he had a twin?
And that he acted so well.
Yes.
That's a very talented family, the Jordans.
Yes, I actually like Michael C. Jordan more than Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, I gotta say, if he would have been in Creed, probably would have won the Oscar.
I want to know where Michael A. Jordan is.
Oh, we don't talk about Michael A. Jordan. No, he decided to play sports and join some basketball team of some kind.
That's the one in the attic, I guess.
He's a bucket of fish heads.
All right, so let's talk about Sinners because
let's talk about Sinners.
This has been a kind of a hot topic. It actually did very well in the box office.
In the buzz.
We're about 2 weeks into now. We're in the second week of release by the time you watch this. Yes. And it did very well the first weekend. It's getting rave reviews by the critics. The general audience seems to love it. But what did the morons think?
Well, general thoughts, I gotta say, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
There is one bad thing about this movie that I'm gonna save it till the end. But other than that one bad thing, I gotta say that I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
Really?
100%, man.
Good.
100%.
Good. I thought it was a great movie about music. A great movie about music.
See, I thought it was a great movie about classic United States history and some of the struggles that a lot of people went through.
Yes, this is a great movie about music, specifically about the historical significance of African American music in
absolutely.
America.
Yes.
That part I thoroughly enjoyed and I thought was great. However, I don't think this is a very good vampire movie.
What?
So this movie has vampires in it.
I had to bite your neck right now and just suck all the blood out of you.
And, you know, what the vampires represent, I'll get to that later, I think is very cool. And I like what it's doing. But in the end, I felt the film kind of lost its way.
Really?
And although I still think the movie is very good, and I still think it's very clever and original, and I like the fact that you can really see the auteurship in this movie. Ryan Coogler, if you don't know, he directed the Black Panther movies, Creed, and Fruitvale Station, and most of those starring Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, not Michael C. Jordan. No. He discovered Michael C. Jordan in this movie. Yeah. But yeah, and so although I liked it, I really did. I do have some issues with it, which I'll get into later.
Wow. I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And I was hoping Arturo was going to be here because I really wanted to get sort of a back and forth as
you can get the back and forth with me.
I feel like
dare you?
You're not as passionate.
I'm offended. This movie definitely awoke something in me because I am ready to fight you on this.
Really?
Yes. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Quick synopsis. This movie is about these twins.
Brothers.
It's Smokestack, as they're called. One is Smoke, the other one's Stack. Both played by Michael B. Jordan. Well, one Michael B. Jordan, one Michael C. Jordan. Yeah. And they are these gangsters that have come back from Chicago. They've been working with Al Capone over there, and they're coming back home because they want to start up their own business, their own juke joint.
They happen to have a large sum of money that we don't know
how they got it.
How they got it.
It doesn't really matter.
They have it.
Yeah. And they have a cousin by the name of Sammy. Played by Miles Caton, I believe you spell his name, and he's actually Caton. This is like his first movie ever. Caton?
Yeah.
Is it Caton?
Is it his first?
Yeah,
it's Caton.
And he's actually like a musician, singer apparently. I don't know much about him, but this is like his debut film, and so he plays this cousin Sammy. He's And in the movie, he's this great blues player and
He's a
everything.
preacher's son.
He's a preacher's son and
See him as a
everything.
preacher's son. Yeah.
And the twins, they talk to him, and they're basically rounding up a bunch of people, other musicians. Another great performance by Delroy Lindo, who plays another
he was
blues
really good in
blues
this.
performer. And basically they're trying to open up this juke joint and whatnot, and have their grand opening and try to get a business going here and there back home.
They're purchasing land. They're making a business deal, which we'll touch on as well.
Yeah.
I want to touch on how this movie starts, though, because if I'm not mistaken, it starts with Sammy coming back to his home church, right? Mm-hmm. And he's tethered. And I really like
at the
these
end,
movies.
basically.
Yeah, I really like these movies. First, I want to say I had only seen the trailer once. And I guess I didn't pay a lot of attention to the trailer because I wasn't really quite sure what to expect with this movie. I don't know about you.
I didn't know it was gonna be vampires in it.
I did not know it was gonna be vampires.
Wow. Okay.
Man. I honestly was thinking this was gonna be more of like Us or Get Out. Something where it's like it's a new type of horror, like something they're gonna do something original. So when that whole storyline started progressing, I was in because it caught me off guard. So I want to start with that. But I love the fact that it starts with Sammy showing up to this church. He's bloody. He's got this gnarly scratch on his face, and he's holding what's left of this guitar. And you're like, what the fuck is going to happen? What is this? I personally did not know what was going on. And then, of course, they jump to, I think, the day before.
Earlier.
This whole movie
happens
place
in one day.
One day. And I really like that because it kind of, okay, now I know where it's going to end, or at least where it's going to be at towards the end.
It has a very From Dusk Till Dawn feel to it.
I've heard that. I never saw that movie.
You never seen From Dusk Till Dawn?
I've seen clips. That's all I can tell you.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's a great movie, and it has that same sort of feel where the first half of the movie is not horror at all, and it's just establishing these characters. You establish the twins, you establish the cousin, the old flame played by Steinfeld. I can't remember her name.
Jamie Steinfeld. Jerry Steinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld was in this movie.
Yeah, it was wild. What's the deal with all these vampires? No, that's how he talks.
What? Why do they? Hailey Steinfeld.
Hailey Steinfeld. I was way off. You're right. It's her. You're right.
Hailey Steinfeld. Yes.
She was great. She plays an old flame.
Old flame of
smoke.
Stack.
Of stacks. Yeah. We see that as he goes to town. So
while they're trying to recruit these different musicians, right? Delroy Lindo plays another blues musician. I think he's actually the best performance in the movie.
I really look.
He was great, and they're basically getting people. And on top of that, they're
rounding up the team.
There's this Asian family who are business owners. Who are kind of like the people who kind of get things done. So they go.
The chows.
Yeah, they go and they get them to get the materials needed to build the bar that
Paint
they
the
need
sign.
and everything.
Yes.
And then there's also Smoke's old flame.
Yes, she's more of she's in the swamplands, and
this all takes place in Mississippi, by the way.
Yes. And it's what year
1930s,
is it again?
1932, I believe.
Okay, yeah, 1930s.
Early 1930s, yeah.
But I feel like just to bounce around a bit,
Depression era.
Vampire movies for me work best in that, and I guess I'll touch on it later. But I really like that it was set in this time period and in this location because it adds to making the whole story more believable for me. But I really enjoyed that scene where they're in town because you get that interaction with the two young gentlemen who are trying to steal from his truck. That whole exchange I loved, where he shoots him in the ass and he has to shoot the other guy. That part was great for me. So
I think all of that stuff was good.
The humor landed to me.
All of the first half of the movie I think is great, and the cinematography is fantastic. Some of it was filmed with IMAX cameras, and I went to see it on IMAX.
Did you?
Yeah, and there's actual scenes where the aspect ratio changes. Like you get the bars, and then all of a sudden when they go into the IMAX film part of the movie, like the bars start to rise and disappear. and it's like it takes up the entire
That must
the
have
screen.
been wild.
It was cool.
experience.
It's especially in the scene where the vampires are about to attack. That happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways,
oh man.
so I love that. I had a couple of quibbles. There were some. I don't know if did this happen to you, but there was moments, especially in that scene that you're talking about when he's in the truck and he goes and talks to this girl that's sitting
Yes.
there and gives. I'm gonna give you 20
He's
cents
like,
for you to watch my truck
for
while I
every
go.
minute, yeah.
Yeah.
If someone tries to steal from it, you push this horn.
While he's talking to her, like the scene cuts from one perspective to another, but they are like different. Like one is like gritty and kind of
I don't think that,
grimy, and then the other one is like super clear and.
Oh, I think that might have been
Was
a
that
theater
just my-
defect. Yeah.
Oh,
think
really?
You should go get your money back for that one, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was on purpose, and it was kind of
no.
jarring, and that happened in that scene, and then it happened again in the end when he kills off the KKK people.
Really?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh, it's a spoiler review.
yeah. But yeah.
But
that didn't
anyways,
happen in
that
mine.
was my only gripe with the cinematography. I thought it was
Yeah.
on purpose, but maybe it
No.
had to do with my theater. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But anyways, going back to the story itself. So they get this crew, the team ready, and they go to this barn, this kind of like abandoned barn thing that they bought from some guy who's clearly a KKK guy.
Clearly, yeah.
But they sort of they give him some money and be like, "Here, this is all the money you're gonna get. Don't ever fucking come back with your KKK friends, or we're gonna kill you and whatnot."
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, the Klan's not a thing anymore." And he's like, "Sure, buddy.
Yeah.
Anybody steps foot on our property, they're gonna be dead." While they're guiding their team, I want to focus more on Smoke's love interest.
Oh yes,
because
yes, you're right.
It plays a huge part in the movie later.
It's true. You're right.
She clearly practices
Voodoo or something.
She believes in the supernatural to some extent. She actually had Smoke wear this necklace thing that she made to protect him.
Magic.
And you find out that they unfortunately, and this part really it hit me in the gut. They lost a child that they had together, and it really hurt. Like it really hurt Smoke, and it hurt her as well, of course. And he's skeptical about this magic, but he still wears it.
Kind of does it for her, yeah.
To you know what? Yeah, if it means a lot to you, I'll wear it. And it kind of, I feel like he kind of believes in it as well. But that part comes back later, so that's important. And he's trying to get her to go because he wants her, I think, to cook, and manage the kitchen. She agrees. So she's going to be the cook in the kitchen, and the Chows are going to be kind of running the bar and the business part of it.
Yes.
And Sammy's going to be playing music.
Along with Delroy Lindo's character. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
I
Smiley?
don't remember.
Silly?
Smiley?
Swanson?
Slappy?
Slappy? I think it was Slappy.
I think it was Slappy. So he's got the whole team. And then there's one more who's the bouncer. He goes and finds them on the farm.
Yes. What was his name?
I don't
Chocolate
remember.
Candy?
Yeah, no.
Something
He
like
had also a very
Hogwood?
interesting name.
No, it's not Hogwood. Yeah, he also had a good name.
But yeah,
he's the bouncer.
He gets the core team. It's like Nick Fury going and getting the Avengers. He's visiting them one by one and being like, we're putting together a team.
Yes.
And we're gonna run this juke joint. And they're all skeptical, but they go and they
And so right before the party gets started is where we get our first introduction to this vampire who so this is my first gripe with the movie. He kind of comes out of nowhere.
I wanted to touch on that.
He comes out
of
nowhere.
He's being chased.
He's being chased by Indians or Native Americans.
Native Americans, please. This is 2025 now.
Or indigenous. I think Native Americans no longer accepted either.
No,
now
not
it's like
even
indigenous.
Native
I don't even know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's being chased by the indigenous tribes that are there, and he goes into this home,
one house
that is owned by this white couple who are KKK.
Find out later.
You find out right there because they even show the scene of like the hood is in the background.
Yeah.
But in this
he's all burnt up.
Yeah, because it's like
the sun is starting to.
I think it's starting to set. He's running. That was the weird thing. Like I couldn't really understand if this was the end of the day and it's just setting, or was it in the morning?
What? No, it was setting.
Yeah.
How was he walking outside?
Exactly. I have no idea. I have no idea. Again, that whole part was very just.
So he shows up. He's half burnt. You can tell his skin is starting to burn off, and he convinces this couple to let him in, and I like the attention to detail because he doesn't go inside until she says
They get invited. So this. I like that they kept this sort of old school myth about vampires that they do not go into someone's dwelling unless invited.
Yes.
So he's kind of begging them and it's like, please help me. And he brings out the money and is like, oh, I got some money to pay you and everything. So they let him in. They let him in. The indigenous tribe that's been chasing him comes and they're like, hey, we're looking for this guy. Like, oh, you better watch out for him. Blah, blah. But the couple is like, yeah.
I am John Redcorn.
Yes.
This is my brother.
Long eagle.
Yes. Flies with eagle.
Flies with eagle. Yes.
We're looking for a white man. Yes. And they deny that he's there. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. And this is where he sees the sun getting lower. And this is where he's all like, all right, man, we tried. May God have mercy on your soul, white man.
Yeah. And so they get the hell out of here. Like, oh, we got to get the hell out of here.
I feel like there's a prequel there, by the way. I feel like if he wanted to.
There has to be an explanation how this guy was running in the middle of the day.
That's why there can be a whole prequel based on this vampire visiting this Native American, this indigenous tribe. And you can also touch on music because
That's true.
Jump.
And it also has a similar theme.
How are you? And then you start getting all the spirits again. Fucking Sugar Ray visits because it's such a good song. And so you can do a whole prequel just based on that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I will not pass judgment until I see if he plans on doing anything with that. Because then if he doesn't, I'll agree. He just comes out of nowhere.
He does. We need a sinner minus one.
Yeah,
Anyways, so the couple manages to chase off the indigenous. The wife comes back in, finds out that the vampire has already bitten the husband.
Yes, he's already started snacking.
And he's like, don't worry, he's going to come back to life. And, and then it cuts off back to our friends at the juke joint.
Yes.
But that's where the vampires originate from, the initial trio of...
and we don't see them again for, I think, a while.
Yeah, because then you get into the party.
Yes.
Then the party starts. Then people are dancing.
Yep. They sent out the party hotline. You know how you used to do back in our day? You'd call a number and they'd be like, there's a party today at Sam's house starting at 9 p.m. $5 cover charge. Bring your own beer.
And then you get this scene, which I've been seeing so much on social media. People are like raving about this scene where Sammy starts playing his song and this movie starts turning into kind of a musical.
Yeah.
He starts playing this song. It's a great song, by the way.
It is.
His voice is it's a bluesy song. And it starts to, you hear a voiceover and you're talking about the whole how music can be this conduit between times and going from the past and the future.
Yes.
But it also brings about some evil.
Yeah.
And so on. And you have this scene where, this guy who's supposedly from the future playing the electric guitar, and then you have people doing some
walk. You see
DJs.
Yes. So
someone is dry humping someone else, or what do they call that? Butt dancing? What do they call that?
Twerking.
You know,
Twerking.
Yeah, someone's
boomer.
twerking. Sorry,
Jesus.
I'm old. This is why Noel is here. He's supposed to.
Sorry, they weren't doing the Macarena for you. Then you'd probably be like, then they were doing the Macarena.
Hardly influential. Yeah. And you also get stuff in the past, like African music,
Egyptian.
and I think it's mostly African, not Egyptian. Egyptian is African.
That's what I was
guess.
gonna say. There's all sorts of different. But to your point, they have different clothing on to symbolize the different time periods that they're from. You see someone that's dressed in just a white T-shirt and baggy jeans and one of those kangaroo hats. What are they called? The little kangaroo.
I have no Noel.
Anyway, you see all different, and what they're
basically Kid in Play.
Okay, so I'm not sure yet how you took that scene. Were you not a fan of that visualization, or were you like, whoa, this is awesome?
I thought it was interesting. I did enjoy it keeps going for a little while, and then the whole juke joint is on fire now. It's sort of all symbolic, that entire scene. Yeah. The whole building's on fire, and then you had all these different people from different times dancing. It literally, the building is completely on fire.
The roof was on fire.
Yeah, the roof was on fire.
The roof.
And they didn't need any water. They just let that motherfucker burn.
Yeah, they didn't need any water.
Yeah.
No, but see, okay, I fucking love that scene, man. I gotta be honest with you. Yeah, I'm with the people on this one because personally, I wasn't expecting, of course, any of that. Again, didn't know much about this. So this entire time, it's strictly based in this time period. And I know there was that one voiceover where they say that every once in a while there comes a musician who just can play the guitar so damn good or make such good music that they can, call the spirits from all around, bending time and space, I think it says.
Yes.
And to visualize it without giving you any kind of like hints or someone saying as it's happening what they're doing, it just, again, it starts off with him playing the blues, and then it cuts to this guy that looks like he's in a Prince attire.
Yeah.
And he's got the electric guitar.
And the music starts mixing in.
The
Like
music
you get
starts
some
mixing.
electronic
You hear the
stuff,
DJ,
the electric,
all
the
the-
guitar. Yeah.
So what they're
Even the
trying to
drums from the-
symbolize is that they're bringing in all
It's
these
all
different
connected.
spirits. It's all connected through the music. So I really enjoyed that scene, and it went on for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it was a fairly long scene.
Rightfully so.
I liked it. Like I said, I liked all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is about the time after this scene happens. Then there is some sexual encounters. Sammy
yes.
Eats out his lady friend,
girl.
which was nice, and then she does her own performance as well, which was very cool. I love that
Oh,
performance.
that's right. She did a performance as well.
Yeah, she's doing the performance, and that's about the time when the three vampires come with their bluegrass music and their country white music and everything like that. And I want to get
They want in, but they can't come in yet.
Yeah, they can't come in because they need to be invited.
They need to be invited.
And so they come up to the front door and we're like, we like your
Yeah.
music. Your music sounds great. So he was drawn to this because when Sammy
of the
was
music.
playing
Yeah.
and when this whole scene is happening, this vampire is drawn to this music and wants to, goes to it. And I want to get into the symbolism of all this because I do think this part is really interesting, and I think this is where the movie is great.
Okay, we agree on
yeah,
something.
yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, so here's my take on everything.
Go for it.
My analysis on the movie. I think this is a movie about the history of music, African American music, and its significance in America, and how it's been a symbol for African Americans, a symbol of freedom, a way to kind of let go from their oppression, from being always told by the white man to do this or that, working, so many hours a day, all these, the struggle that they have.
Yeah.
And music is this
Their outlet.
this party is their outlet, right? Their way of feeling free.
Yeah.
And I think the vampires, and it's obviously no coincidence that the initial vampires are white. And they're coming with their own music, and their own music is sort of following that sort of Appalachian tradition and whatever, because you got the banjo. It's not Irish, but the Irish comes later.
Turns into Irish, but yeah, you're right.
There's
you're
like
right.
that Appalachian sort of tradition and whatnot. And
Bluegrass.
yeah, the bluegrass stuff. And I think what the vampires represent is sort of like the white man coming, or the white man, or maybe like the machine of commerce and whatever, if you want to call it, coming in to suck the soul out of this African American music, the black music that is spawning from this sort of struggle and oppression and this release
Use it
of trying to
its
be free.
advantage.
And the vampires are they're sucking of the blood, is sort of the sucking the soul, and sort of taking, and how in real life, right? White people have taken black music and gave it to a white artist, and that white artist is the one who's making all the money and everything. Elvis Presley being an example of that.
The first thing that came
But
to mind. Yeah.
also, in addition of taking black artists and basically, being tempting them with the money. This is why he's got the gold and everything, and that's how they get in the first place, tempting them with the money and be like, hey, if you join us, you can have the freedom.
yourself some
You can
watches,
have
man.
that freedom and everything is cool on this side and everything. But
Yeah.
what really is happening is like they're stealing that music.
Right.
They're stealing that music, and even though they might be happy, as being vampires because now they get to live forever, but their soul is trapped now. Their soul is gone. They no longer have that raw feel that they had before they were the vampires, right? Before they sold their soul, before they sold out to the machine, to the machine, right? That's what the vampires represent in this movie. That's how I took it. And that is what this whole movie I think is about. And all of that I think is fucking genius and clever and great. I don't know what you thought.
I had not looked at it that way.
No?
You went deep. I was looking at just that surface.
I thought that was obvious.
This is awesome. No, it's not like super obvious. Again,
he even talks about like the main vampire even talks about like how he wants to join with his music and everything like that.
I guess I was looking at it more in the vampire aspect, and like he wanted to get more vampires to eventually take over and be a vampire society. Honestly, I wasn't trying to find symbolism, I guess, in this movie. I was taking it for what it was, which is...
So you thought this movie was great as a straight-out vampire movie?
As everything, though. I loved it as a musical. I loved it as a horror movie. I loved it as a historical piece. I loved it as a comedy, even. I mean...
Some of the...
I enjoyed it.
Comedy, yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I didn't strictly see it as a vampire movie. I loved the vampire aspects of it. I loved... Listen, I'm not against what you're saying. Now that you're saying it out loud and I'm thinking more about it, sure, it can absolutely be a symbolism of what's happening now, which is agencies and record labels that go and take these young aspiring artists that are very talented and are making music that is tied to their culture and basically waving the gold bag in front of them and saying, I'll give you this and you let me fuck around with your music and use your music to benefit me.
It's the cultural appropriation that people talk about it. And and I feel like the vampires are that in that they are sucking the soul, the life out of this music that these people created out of their struggles and desire to be free.
Yeah. Okay.
And they feel like, and the whole temptation of the vampires is to tell them, you can be free with us, right? And it's just like in the real world, like, oh, these black artists who their music is taken from them, or they're sold this, so like, oh, we'll give you all the money, but then you gotta corporatize, you gotta do what we have to say. We're gonna tell you what kind of music you're gonna write and all these things. And they're all following the white man in the end. If you notice, the vampires are all following this leader. And they're all, and they all feel like if without
it's a
him,
shared mind. They established that it's all a shared mind. The memories are the same, and we see that like when they kill Mr. Chow, suddenly all the vampires are able to speak Chinese.
Yes.
And so that's a very clear sign that they are. Now let's go beyond, if you don't mind, or do you
one more thing. I'm sorry. Just going back
into
into that theme because I do want to say it gets cemented in the final scene of the movie. I don't want to jump into it, but I'll get back to it when we get to there. But I do want to say like the whole thing of buying them off.
Yes,
is a big theme
I
as
think
well.
I know where you're going with that. I'm liking it even more
and the
now.
brother, the ghost. I'm sorry. Smoke technically gets bought off. So it's like the musician who gets bought off, right?
Yeah.
He gets bought off. He's the one who sells out, and he's the first one to die. Well,
he's the Nilly Vanilli of this.
Hailey Steinfeld's character, Mary, I believe her name was. I don't remember, but she ends up dying because she wants to befriend, these vampires who doesn't know that they're vampires.
She doesn't want to. They send her out there, by the way. No, sorry, I gotta say, if you remember correctly, they're like. She does say.
No, she does say that. Hey, like, just give me the gun. Like, yeah. That she's white, they'll talk to me and everything and whatnot. But she ends up getting turned. She comes back. They obviously let her in because they think she's okay.
Yep.
And she's the one who shows, Smoke, like, hey, look at this gold. Yes. And he's all like, oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, and he accepts the bribe. She tells him. He sells out.
She tells him they just want money. They just want to have a party. Like, look at this gold. They actually do have money.
And the money is a big thing. Like, oh, we got lots of money. We got lots of, here's the money and everything.
It does play a big thing on this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's the first one to, out of the brothers, out of the black characters, he's the first one to die.
Yeah, man.
And he's the first
one to
And what a way to
die, by the way. I mean,
I think it's a good way to go. It's not the worst way,
It's not the worst way to die.
Noel, would you be okay if you were banging a chick and she just bit your neck off?
Turned you into a vampire by biting your flesh?
I can only dream.
Damn it. Well, there you go. So anyway, he is the first to die. Now, this is a nice transition into
what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is now that we're done with the symbolism and that scene of the music and the vampires, now this is where the action this is where it becomes your Dusk to Dawn vampire survival movie. And I wasn't sure how they were going to do that because I don't like it when there's a stupid character that accidentally says, yeah, you think you're that bad? Why don't you come in and show me? And they're like, you stupid Gilligan, you just invited them. There wasn't.
The wife.
She did it on purpose, though. She was so hurt, and that she wasn't like by accident.
But that was
or
stupid.
Like derp. No, it was very stupid. You're right. Because
this is where I think the movie starts to falter.
But you get where she's coming from, though, because the vampire threatens going to go visit her daughter. Because they share the memory. He's like, maybe if you don't come out here, I'll go and visit your daughter, Violet, or whatever her name is, in town. And that makes the wife hysterical, which understandably so. If someone threatened my child and I was trapped,
get that part,
unable to go protect that person, I would lose my shit. Yeah. And I would fucking probably be desperate, which is what she does. I just want to say that, yes, prior to this happening, I thought, well, this is a pretty easy movie. You just got to lock the doors. Exactly. And don't look out the window. You guys are all safe. You're good.
So a couple things happened that I also thought were stupid before that.
Go for it.
Which is how the vampires act. Well, Hailey Steinfeld, she's a vampire now, right?
Vampiress.
After vampiress, yes. Vampiress. After she, bangs and kills Michael C. Jordan.
Yeah.
She gets shot a bunch of times by Michael B. Jordan. And she just gets up and says, "We're gonna kill you all."
Yeah.
And for some reason, just runs out. Yeah. Like, why? You're already in. Why do you run out? As a vampire,
why not call out and be like, "Hey, other vampires, come in, hurry, come in."
Well, I don't know if the rules work. The rules work that way.
She's inside and she's inviting people in.
Perhaps, I don't know, but that one, I don't know. I think you have to be a living person. But either way. I can accept that part. But the fact that she runs out, to me, is like completely stupid and out of character.
She had to have known that she was outnumbered.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They don't know how to kill vampires. Why not just go and try to kill even more of them?
She wouldn't have stood a chance. She knew there was dozens of people in that building.
And then it happens again with Michael C. Jordan when he turns into a vampire. And he's banging the door. He drops it down, and he's in full control. They throw the garlic juice on him, right? The garlic pickle juice. Yeah. And he's just like, ah! And he runs out. Like, why do you run out? I mean, that one makes a little bit more sense.
Juice thrown at him.
That one makes a little bit more sense. Yeah. But the Hailey Steinfeld one just felt like, why do you run out? But
I think she was there to scout.
She already infiltrated.
But she still had a group of vampires waiting. I think her main mission was go in there, maybe turn one of them, and then try not to get caught, and then come back and report to us. She went in there. She did what she had to do. She analyzed the situation, and she figured I stand a better chance going back and getting my other vampire posse and then coming back and raining havoc. We'll figure out how we get back in at that time. Anyways,
going back to where you were. So I'll let you go. I'll let you explain it.
I kind of already lost where I was, but
we were in the part. So after Michael C. Jordan wakes up, gets pickle juiced. Now you have your main characters inside the house. Yes. And they're all like, and then
they start forming the weapons. They start. I think it was
what's her name? Yeah, Smoke's old
wife.
Flame. They're not. I don't know if they're white.
Yeah, partner.
She starts explaining everything like these are in
She knows. Yep.
They're vampires.
They're vampires.
And we gotta get some garlic, and we gotta get some steaks, and the
silver. Yes.
Or something.
Yes. And don't invite them in.
Yes.
And yeah.
So she basically lays out the rules of like what we shouldn't do.
But she would know that though. If she practices voodoo,
which is good,
which is established,
that's fine.
Okay, good. I just wanted to
I'm getting on the point of like why it seems so stupid for the Asian woman to be like, oh, come on in, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Again,
when you're completely outnumbered by the vampires.
I see it as an act of rage. She just lost her husband, and she got threatened to kill her daughter, and she's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I like the way the group responds after this. When she does that, at first I was pissed. I was like, you stupid person. You could have just fucking shut up and waited till sunlight and you guys would have been good. But then I guess everyone accepts it as like, well, fuck it, dude. She just invited them in. what are we gonna fucking do?
It happens really fast.
It happens really fast.
And they all seem to like recognize that this just happened.
They accept it. They come to terms with
And
it
it's like,
almost
oh, well,
immediately.
well, we got
They're
the
like,
weapons ready, I guess.
Stop her. And she invites them in. They're like, get your weapons, everybody, get your guns.
Yeah.
But I like the way the transition, because everything's laid out in the table.
Yeah, yes.
Nice, like in nice fashion.
You're getting to the parts where the movie lost me.
Oh,
the movie lost me
is where
here.
it grabbed me.
No.
It must have been like, fuck this stupid ass. Dropped you, and they're like, look at this guy, he seems cool, and they grabbed me, because that's exactly where this movie grabbed me right here.
Before we get to that, I do want to acknowledge the fucking Irish jig they do, like all the vampires do.
Yeah, man. That
Which
shit
is
was
like
awesome, dude.
crazy awesome.
Yeah, man.
I don't understand what that represents. I don't get
river dancing.
That's the only part of the movie where I was confused.
Clearly, okay, let me fill you in.
Fill me in.
This is a representation of how capitalism plays a role into how all these record labels are able to take advantage of these artists and appropriate their culture and their music to benefit them. It's through river dancing, aka capitalism, that this is all possible. So that's why the main vampire starts river dancing, and a damn good river dance, by the way. Damn good river dance.
I truly enjoyed that scene, even though it made no sense to me.
Because you love capitalism.
I mean,
it hit
do.
you. That's why. You're like, oh, it's something about this dance. Just, it tickles my bone. Yeah. It's because it's capitalism.
Imagine a world without capitalism. God,
Yeah.
people would be like dancing on the streets, picking
Rainbows,
flowers and shit.
sharing things with each other. You're the worst, dude.
God.
But yeah, that's what I feel happened. But yeah, the river dancing scene was very cool that they do. It's all
I enjoyed
synced.
it. So going back to this thing, so the Asian mom, she invites them in her anger. The husband has been turned.
Yes.
They threaten their daughter who's in the town back where the town is, whatever.
Yeah.
So she invites them in, and then this is where like the whole IMAX thing happened that I was telling you about.
Oh, the
where the
bars
bars went
At
up
this
and this
scene?
yeah, where they opened the barn
Damn, that
and
would've been
all the
awesome.
vampires come. I thought that was
Just come
cool.
rushing in.
But what happens at the entire fight to me was so badly choreographed. It was so bad. I mean, it was
I don't
basically,
agree.
you know how when you have like 6 or 7 people who are about to fight 50,
course, yeah.
50 people, and for some reason these 50 people don't all just charge in at once. They kind of wait.
They stagger and
one,
they wait.
One person comes in and the other ones just wait. Like I'm just
You mean
gonna,
like most Batman movies?
yeah, like most superhero movies.
Like every fucking movie.
No.
I don't know of any movie
No,
where
no,
you're
no,
like,
no, no, no.
Maybe The Matrix
If you
Reloaded
watch
when all
from-
the Agent Smiths attack
If
Neo
you
at the
watch
same
From
time.
Dusk Till Dawn, it is a much better choreographed battle with the vampires where it feels like it's chaos and everything
Yeah.
like that. This really felt like it was just like one vampire. All right, I'm gonna go in first. All right, I'm gonna wait for you. Let's see how you do.
You go, do I go?
Yeah,
Okay, you go. Sorry,
so then,
you go.
So there's like these one-on-one battles. While in the background,
That's not
it's
true,
also
though,
it's
because it
also
was a
badly
group.
filmed. As Ryan
That's
Coogler
not
is a
true.
great. Yes, there.
No,
in
you're
the
wrong.
background, you can see this crowd of vampires just standing there.
They're
while
not just
one
standing
vampire.
there.
Yes, they are. They are.
No.
Go back and watch it.
I
It's so
don't have
badly.
to, because I remember every time that I was looking at that, at least from my memory, which is great, by the way, the greatest memory. A lot of people say it's the greatest memory that there ever was. But from my memory, I remember that there was always people fighting. So maybe the camera was focused
There's like
on
7 of them, and they
Right.
take out like these vampires who have superhuman strength, by the way, and can jump incredible.
Yeah, but they're
they-
trapped in a small barn, so
Yeah,
they can't
yeah.
jump that high because they'll hit their head.
I guess they're right. You're right. You're
yeah,
right.
you don't want to hit your head while you're fighting.
Well, first
Got a concussion?
the mother, the Asian mother, goes and just attacks that one vampire, and it's like on fire, and just like I'm
they
just gonna
have
kill
wooden
this one
stakes,
vampire.
they have
So
just-
one goes out right away.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
guess.
then it's just. It's like
I just feel like that could be done. That could be said about any movie. We're like, whoa, fucking Batman's clearly fighting this one bad guy. How come 3 other bad guys don't come and just stab him in the back?
Yeah, and I always hate that. I always,
you do? Oh, in that case,
I like
never
it.
mind.
I like it when a film is able to choreograph the battle where that doesn't
It'll-
come
yeah,
to my
you don't
mind.
look at it. Yeah,
like
yeah.
it
I got it.
feels logical that this is happening.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the entire barn door's open. It's a wide open space.
It
where
is like
more than
40,
enough.
like 30 vampires against the 7
And
or
in
6.
the end, most of them are still alive. You know.
Yeah, suffering. Some decapitated. Or, yeah.
Yeah. So that whole battle happens. They kill. They kill the Asian mom. They kill the Smoke's old flame.
Pretty much kill everybody, man.
Yeah, they pretty much kill everybody.
I did like. I don't want to just kind of flash past that one where Smoke's old flame. I hate that we call her that, but
what's her name? What's her name, Noel? Can you please put her name?
Yeah, she did a damn good job of portraying that. I think
Beatrice. I think it's Beatrice.
Okay,
Beatrice, right? Right.
I can't.
Tanaya
My eyes.
Jackson?
The flash. The camera is in my eyes.
I'm pretty sure that's her. I think that's her.
Well, she because of that baby they lost, she tells, this is where she reveals to Smoke, which is your soul doesn't get to escape your body if you get turned into a vampire, which I don't know if other vampire movies do that same thing regarding what happens to your soul.
Well, you're sort of stuck in there, right?
Well, I think, and I wasn't a huge Buffy fan, but I was a huge Buffy fan in a way, where in that story arc, which was James Gunn as well, when you got turned into a vampire, your soul would break up into hundreds of pieces, and it would just dissipate. Like you wouldn't be a thing anymore. Whereas in this movie, if you got turned into a vampire, your soul got stuck inside your body, and it would just stay there until I think you were killed. And she says, I don't want that to happen to me because I have a baby soul waiting for me, and so do you.
On the other
so
side.
you gotta promise me. They do that trope that even though it's a trope, it still gets me every time. You gotta promise me, damn it, you fucking kill me if that happens.
Yes.
And sure enough, it fucking happens, and he has to kill her, and he does.
He does. Yes. And all the vampires just wait for him to do that.
They are respectful.
And they
vampires.
are just like hanging out. It was like, oh wait, he's having a moment.
Shh.
He's having a moment.
Hey, shh, over there.
Stop fighting. Stop drinking blood. He's having a moment. They even have time for her to be like, you promised what you were going to do.
I think there was
I'm
less
telling you, the movie loses me so much in these scenes.
Oh man, you're wrong.
I went from being like, wow, this is a great, clever, original movie.
Yeah.
I'm loving it, to just rolling my eyes of how badly these scenes are filmed.
Surprise.
They're just so badly filmed, and I don't understand why people don't notice. Go back and watch it. He's like he's there. It's like, oh no, you're not gonna go. And she's like, you promise me. And like these, and apparently most of them have died by this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the 30 other vampires are just like,
no,
whatever.
There's not that many vampires
Yeah,
left.
yes, there is.
Now you're just lying.
No, I'm not.
There's not that many vampires
All right,
left.
like 25.
Okay. Maybe 25. No, there's significant. Like if you're keeping count, at least the way I remember it seemed like a lot of them died right away, and if they didn't die, they got maimed or like stabbed really hard where they were weak, and they were like, oh,
and
man.
they kind of just give up on the fight. They just kind of like, oh, let's get out of here. Even though they're still outnumbering them, still in the end you got Sammy, you got Smoke, and you have Delroy Lindo's character, whose name I still can't remember, Smiley or something.
He dies.
He sacrifices himself.
He sacrifices himself with the Molotov cocktail. No,
he just kind of he
has a
slices,
bomb of some kind. No,
no, I don't think he
He
does.
slices his veins so he doesn't get turned.
And he's all like, "Come on, blah blah blah."
Yeah,
and they all just start eating him.
Right? No, but I think you remember he takes a few with him, if I remember correctly.
He tries, I think he tries, but it's kind of a pathetic attempt.
It worked though. Again, it bought the arrest some time.
So then Smoke and Sammy Sammy's love interest. Yeah. They managed to get away, and they're going up to the roof. They're going up to the upstairs, but lo and behold, here comes Stack, who's a vampire now.
Yes, he is.
He comes and he attacks Smoke, and they're having a thing. He ends up killing Sammy's love interest.
Yep.
And then Smoke and Stack have this
He's
fight.
like, Sammy, get out of here.
Yeah, Sammy. And so
Get outta
Sammy
here.
runs out the window,
Yes.
doesn't realize that it's a
window. Yeah.
a window.
I
falls,
forgot. Yeah.
falls to the ground. He's like limping and whatnot.
Yes.
And here comes the main vampire, the one that started it all.
Yeah.
Who's the actor's name? Noel, can you roll it? God, I can't. What's his
Jack
name? Jack O'Connell. Yeah, he was great in this, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I liked him as a vampire.
He was great. So this is the final encounter with Sammy and Remick.
And
Jack
they're all
O'Connell.
outside now.
And they're all outside. All the other vampires are just kind of watching this.
They're hurt. They're injured. They're all. It's not like they're all
not
like,
injured. They're not injured.
They're definitely not like, all right, guys, let's gather around and watch the main vampire fight. Don't interfere because that would be too easy. Let's just watch him struggle. They don't do that. They're
They watch. They watch.
They're dead.
Well, maybe the main vampire is telling him like, step back. This one's mine. Whatever.
Maybe.
I can accept that.
He's thinking that to them because they all share the same
So while Sammy and Remick are having this little encounter outside, Snack and
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Snack, Crackle, and Pop, Smokestack are having their little fight, but Stack can't seem to like really beat him because the magic of this thing that
Tries. I was gonna say
yeah.
that. There's one scene where Stack gets really close to biting his neck,
But he
every
can't.
time he gets
There's-
close, he's like, ugh.
Yeah, there's like a thing.
Ugh.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
can't do it.
And I wasn't sure because he's also wearing a silver medallion. So I wasn't sure if it was the silver medallion or if it was that necklace that his
the
partner
necklace.
made him.
It was the necklace that his
Okay.
partner
It
made.
just-
Yeah,
they don't
for
say
sure.
it. They don't say
It's
what
clear
it was.
that it's that.
It could be
It's
both.
pretty-
Could be both.
So then Smoke gets the upper hand, and it seems like
He's about to stab him.
about to stab him.
Yeah,
We cut back outside.
And they're in a lake.
And they're in the
water.
lake.
They're fighting.
And Sammy is being held by the vampire. Vampires are saying all kinds of shit about how I need you to join with your music.
The thing about capitalism is that it allows a free market for us to use your music and sell albums at whatever price while you get nothing. Pennies.
No, you get royalties, but just
You
pennies
get
to the dollar.
pennies at first.
But that's
And
more than
he's-
you've ever made.
Yeah, and he's trying to reach for something.
And he gets his guitar. Well, he
There's
always
the
had his guitar.
guitar. Yeah,
And he
yeah.
slams his guitar on Remick's head. The metal part of it
This part, yeah.
cuts into his head.
Beautifully.
Yeah, that was a good
Sliced,
violent
yeah.
part. Not enough violence in this
And
movie
yeah,
too.
there could have been some more. And all the vampires feel it.
Yeah, they're all like, no.
They all get up from their lawn chairs and they're like,
they've been watching this movie.
They
you know?
drop their popcorn because clearly they were all just standing on the sidelines. And they're like,
Yeah.
ouch, no, why'd you do that? This is where Hailey Steinfeld's character runs away. Because I was wondering, when did that happen? And I think it was at this part where the turntables and
the tables are
now
turned.
the tables are turned, and now Sammy has the upper hand.
Sort of.
And sort of.
Sort of.
But all the other ones are hurting and they're in pain. I think this is the part where she's like, fuck this, I'm out. And she runs away.
Yeah, she does, I believe. I don't remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. But then, Remick still has him. He's got him by the neck. He's about to kill him. And then somehow, good old Smoke has sneaked through all these vampires.
Jumped from the top.
Jumped from the window somehow.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, just stabs fucking Remick from the back through the heart. And he's just like, oh.
This is why I don't remember the audience of vampires.
He
because
walks around. Yeah, all the vampires are there.
They're all scattered.
And again, all of this, I'm just like, God damn it! Like, why this is so badly filmed and so bad? Like, how did you write this and not tell yourself this is like so cheesy? It's so bad. Yeah. Like, he just sneaks through all the vampires, kills them, and then they both watch as like he starts dying, and then the sun is finally coming out, and all the vampires are burning. I'm like,
oh fuck, shit, that's right. What time is it?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Vampires have no sense of time.
They don't.
Considering how their life is at risk, do you think they would know?
Listen, Nosferatu had an excuse.
I know. He had an excuse. He had a
when
real
he lost
excuse.
track of time. It's easy to lose track of time in that situation.
Yes,
But
exactly.
in this situation, also, you're entertained with the fight. So you're not looking at your clock. They didn't even have watches back back then. So
That's true. I
it was
guess you're
very-
right.
It could have been 11 p.m. for all they knew.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, the sun comes up. They all die.
all the vampires die. They get burned alive.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I think this is where
This is
Smoke tells Sammy, like, you go.
yes.
Go back to your house. I'll clean up right here, and I'll take care of the cleanup, and then it cuts
On
to
aisle
where
12.
the movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
It cuts to where the movie started, which is
Sanji to the front with the
Sammy-
Windex. Sanji
Sammy-
to the front with the Windex.
Sam-
Sanji to the front with the Windex.
Yes, it is.
Sanji
For
to
the
the front with
Simpsons. Yes,
Okay.
that's where Bart sells his soul. So, which
It's
is very
perfect.
similar.
It's
Yeah,
very
very
perfect.
nice transition.
Thank you.
Sammy, all bloodied up, takes Smoke's his. I was gonna say scar. It takes Smoke's car back to his home church, which is the movie started.
Yes.
And I get it now. When they were asking him to drop the guitar, they were basically saying, "Leave this world behind. Leave the
Yes.
music behind.
Leave the sinful music.
You don't need the music." And it kind of, he's like trembling.
But that's the
Or
thing.
is
The
he gonna
music
let it
was
go?
a symbol of the only freedom that they had.
Yeah, he did that, and that's why it was so.
And then, so yeah, let's go a little quick here because then you have this kind of unnecessary scene, which is another scene I
didn't think it
did
was
not like.
unnecessary. I liked it.
I get
liked
it.
it.
I get it that it has some like I don't know, feel good that you're killing off KKK people, which is nice. You
I
always.
will never stand against watching that, especially.
But
in
it
a
just
theater.
feels completely sort of like.
I don't give a shit how it feels
The
in
only-
regards to the cinematic.
The only good thing about it is the final scene of that the final part of that scene
Where he sees his wife.
No, where he sees the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also if you notice, the white guy before he dies offers him money. This goes back to the
Right.
theme to sell his soul
Yeah.
basically and be like, let me
Got lots
live.
of
I
money.
have money,
Yeah.
and he's like, fuck that, and shoots
It's
him.
like the artist that's about to leave a record label to start
What?
his own shit. And then the record labels are like, "We'll pay you more," and he's all like, "Nah, fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
go start my own record label, and I'm
Well,
gonna do my own shit."
he just decides like, hey, I'd rather be free than to
Yeah.
be your slave, basically. Whether it's not,
through music, through money.
Yeah, through money or whatever.
Yeah.
But and that
I
that
think
part
you're
was
wrong.
good.
I
That
think you're
part was
wrong.
good.
I like. See, this is what I liked about it is where I thought it was gonna end right then and there, where Sammy decides not to drop the guitar, and cut scene and roll credits, and it would have been also doable. Like, oh fuck!
I think what happens afterwards is
It's
a
still more.
way
So there's-
better scene, way better end scene. Like, you could
There's a
have.
middle credit scene, and then there's a after credit scene.
I did not see the after credit scene.
Yeah,
I did
there
not-
was two.
You need to tell me what that is. But the mid credit scene is the important one.
Yeah.
So after Smoke kills off all the KKK, and he dies himself because he gets shot in this.
Yes.
Which, by the way, the one man versus like 20. There's some of the worst shooting
he
KKK.
had a fucking huge
Tommy gun.
crate box
Yeah.
of all these different
I mean, but
kinds
man,
of weapons.
they must have been stormtroopers in the past life.
Yeah, I do. I
Star
will
Wars
say that
Stormtrooper.
did stand out. I never like it, but every movie does it.
Yeah, God.
Someone with a fucking machine gun
But
shoots at someone
I
who's
expect-
running and crouching. He's running and crouching, and then that stops you from being able to shoot him. But that
I
happens in every
just
fucking
expect
movie.
better from.
It happens in the Bond movies. It happens
Anyway,
in everything.
okay,
Anyway,
I get it.
yeah.
I get it. All right. So going on to the last scene of the movie, so you find out that Sammy does not let go of his guitar. He leaves his preacher dad, and you see him drive off into the sunset
Yeah.
with the guitar still in hand. But we jump forward. As the credits are rolling, we jump forward. It's Sammy later on, played by Buddy Guy, who's a
Yeah,
real
an
life
actual
blues
artist,
right,
man.
there.
I really like that touch.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
You see him, he's old now, it's in the 90s. He's playing his blues with his band. He's still doing it, playing the music that he loves. He's not famous. He's not making a lot of money. He's playing
At a
just these
small
bars,
joint. Yep, that's
these
at a
small
bar.
joints, still in the South and everything like that.
He's got the scar.
Yeah, he still got the scar, but he gets
Yeah.
a visit from these two vampires. And
Very
it's-
90s
Yeah, and they're
fashionable.
all dressed up. They seem like they've been well off, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is where I think it cements the theme that I was talking about earlier. I want to go back to it here
Oh,
because
yeah, I knew we were
you
going to
have
this. Yeah.
Stack and Mary, right? Oh my God, Hailey Steinfield's character. I
Yeah.
think that's her name.
Yeah.
And they come into this bar. They get invited in. or whatever. Yeah, it is Mary. I was right.
Yeah.
They get invited in because nobody knows that they're vampires.
Right.
They're like, hey, we'll give you $100.
They make a point of saying that. They're like, yeah, come on in. And I was like, well, right away, right there. I was like, oh,
Well,
that's a vampire.
another thing, right? They gave $100 to the bouncer, and the bouncer says, hey, they gave me $100. They said blah blah blah. The money playing a part in it. Again, think about it. Anyways, they come on in and they sit next to good old Sammy, and Sammy knows who they are, obviously.
Right away.
Yes.
It's over.
Yeah, and Stack and Mary, Stack tells a story about how Smoke, when he was about to kill him, doesn't actually kill him.
First, they admire his music. They're like, oh,
no, that
we're
happens
huge fans.
afterwards. Oh yeah, they do say that they're huge fans, but that happens afterwards.
This album was good. This album
that happens afterwards.
Oh, okay.
But they tell the Stack. Michael C. Jordan tells the story about how Michael B. Jordan did not kill him, and instead, for some reason, told him, "Just promise me you're gonna leave Sammy alone."
Yeah.
Like, again, like, why the fuck would Smoke, knowing that these are vampires? Knowing that these are vampires would make that deal with the vampire.
The way I saw
Whatever.
The way I saw it was that's how strong their bond was. That even through this vampire shared memory, he still in his heart, in his body, in that trapped soul, knew that this was his brother that they had been through war with.
Yes.
They had they throughout the whole movie they established how strong their bond was.
Yes.
So I took it as like not only was
even though Stack
Smoke,
was ready to kill him, he was about to kill him.
yeah, and so was Smoke to Stack, and it wasn't because of Stack wanting to kill him. He was bitten by a vampire. So that's where the initial "I want to kill you" kind of moment came from.
Fine.
There you go.
Fine. Whatever. But so he doesn't kill him, but he makes him promise he's gonna leave him alone. So that's why they left him alone all this time. But they're here to kind of just confront him and tell him this story.
60 years later.
60 years later.
Yeah.
They tell him, hey man, we've been following your career this whole time, just like you were saying.
Yes.
We, your new shit, like it's cool and all, but we missed the old raw shit.
Yes.
You and just the guitar. Like, you still got that guitar or whatever? And then he comes out, pulls the guitar. I guess he's rebuilt it or whatever, or maybe bought a new one. Don't know what happened exactly. But he has that old guitar, and he starts playing it. And the vampires are just like, oh, yeah.
They're vibing, man.
Yeah,
they're
that's
like,
the
nice.
shit right there.
Yep.
That is the shit.
And they're like, they offer him. They make him an offer. They say,
that he could refuse, I guess.
He could refuse because they were like, we could just turn you.
Yeah, and you could live forever.
You'll live forever, just like us. You'll be able to keep up with the cool fashion trends, like this cool 90s sweater that I'm wearing. And he turns it down. Sammy says, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
The one thing that I liked all of this. Go on.
I did. I love this scene, and I think it cemented the theme that I thought it was, that I interpreted as, which is like, a Stack and Hailey, Mary, they basically sold their soul. They've sold out to the machine. They're well off. They got they have money. They're doing good in that sense, but they don't have that soul.
That freedom
that Sammy has.
Yeah.
And in this moment, they're giving them that last bribe. They're giving them that last bribe to sell out.
Hey, come back.
Like, come on. But he's like, you know what? Nah. I like it here. I like it here. I like it. I want to keep doing my thing, and that's what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter that I'm not popular or whatever. I'm just going to... this is real fucking music played for the right reasons or whatever you can want to talk about it. And I love that. I love that scene. Yeah. And then there's a final thing that happens, right? He says, every once in a while I wake up on a cold sweat because I remember that night and how fucked up it was. But before that shit all went down, it was one of the happiest days in my life, and one of the days I felt the most free. And was that the same to you? And Stack is all like, yeah, man, that was the last time I saw sunlight. That was the last time I felt anything.
True. That's where it ends.
Yeah. You see before he sold his soul to the devil for the material stuff. But goddamn, that part was great.
That part was great, and I didn't even go that deep as you did. Again,
how did you not?
Because no. I honestly saw that as like this one guy right before the vampires leave being like, yo, that party though, it was fun, right? And
That
the
was a
vampires
banger.
are like, it was a fucking banger, dude.
Yeah, that was
that shit was tight. All right, cool. And I was like, oh, I can relate to that. Because if I was in that same situation 60 years later, I would be like, I remember it being a pretty cool party, though, before all the death. Before all the vampires. Am I getting that correctly? And then the vampire's going to be like, it was pretty fucking fun. Like,
Yeah.
right? It was rad.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right, peace out. That's how I would react. So
Yep.
I
And
like
that's how
that.
it ends.
It's like that about it. Yeah, that's how it ends. And
Yes.
I look, man, I go back to what I said in the beginning, which is everything about this movie. I was fucking all for it, man. I'm not a huge, like, gore horror person.
Graded.
And this movie just gave me what I needed. I'm gonna give it an A+, man.
A+?
An A+. Yep.
Really? God
Remember
damn.
I said there was one thing that I didn't like about this
What was
movie?
the one thing?
I developed a UTI because I held in my urine until the movie ended, and I needed to go like an hour into this movie.
That was
Legit,
it?
I have the medical bill to fucking prove
Oh,
it. I developed
fantastic.
the UTI because that's the one bad thing about this movie is that
It was
if
a
you're
little
gonna
long.
go watch it, use the restroom before you watch it because you will develop a UTI.
Look, I know a lot of people. I might be in the minority here
Oh,
in
shit.
thinking that this movie is not as great as people are saying it is. And that's fine. I don't mind being it. I mean, critics are loving it. General audiences are loving it. And I get it. I think a lot of this movie is great. And I've talked about it. I think the symbolism and what it's trying to say, and I like how it's using vampires in that sort of representative way. And all of that was great. But honestly, man, once the vampires started attacking, it lost me. It turned into a movie that I've seen so many times over where it was like the bad cliches. It was like the bad cliches over and over again. And the
disagree.
kind of stuff that I feel Ryan Coogler is a much better writer and director to have fallen. Maybe he wanted to make this sort of traditional vampire type of movie, but the rest, but everything that happens before it is not traditional. It's very new and very original and very clever and
That's
very
what makes
serious.
it such a good movie. Sorry to interrupt. That's what makes it such a good
It
movie.
is, and I'm saying it is a good movie, but I don't think it's an A+ movie, and I feel like people are a little overrating it. But I still think it's good, and I'm going to give it a B+, a B+, a B+, because it really lost me in the end. It lost me in the end.
A whole grade though, like it lost a whole grade from you. At
It
the
did.
end?
Like as I'm telling you, from that point where the vampires attack, that's when I was like, oh man, like I started rolling my eyes. It was just like seriously. I seriously was like thinking in my head that whole scene that we talked about, where he's over the mom, his wife or whatever, his ex, or his old flame, Beatrice, whatever, and they're talking and everything, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like, are we really having this moment? There's vampires killing everybody.
I gotta go back and watch it again.
Like, why are you talking?
Yeah.
Like, just either do it now or get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, do
like,
it fast.
It felt so cliche,
But
so
that's, again,
bad.
I guess the reason why I was okay with it is because every fucking movie does it. Every
Not every movie
Yes,
does it.
dude.
No. Not every
Show
movie
me a
does it.
movie where they're like, you remember you promised, and he's like, no, I remember. Clash. Cool, I'm out. Like that never happens. When you see-
some movies
when
just
you see-
avoid
nope.
having that scene.
Right.
They just avoid having that. If you're gonna have a scene where you promise you're gonna kill me, either fucking do it or not. There's a fucking scene in From Dusk Till Dawn where that actually happens, because that exact same thing happens.
Yeah.
He says like,
make a promise.
you make a promise, you kill me, and the guy's
as
getting
the-
fucking eaten, and he's just like, okay, Dad. And he fucking blows him up and everything.
Yeah.
He's not there having a conversation and shit. Anyway, I'm going off.
Yeah.
On it.
No.
Anyway,
I can respect that. I can respect that. Being
I just want to say to Tori out there, who I know is gonna hunt me down like
he's
a
not
vampire.
watching this. He's not watching this.
Yeah, I hope
can
he
assure
does.
you.
I hope he does, because I feel like I explain myself. I give it the credit it deserves. I do. I think it's a very original film, and I think it deserves a lot of credit.
No,
But
it's
I
not good
do
enough.
think
It's
it
not good
loses me in the end. But yeah, B+ for me. So
Listen.
A+ and a B+, I think that averages out to like an A- or so.
It's an A for sure.
Yeah.
This movie falls within my top 3 vampire movies. There's Nosferatu,
Wow.
there's fucking Sinners, and then there's Hotel Transylvania. Those three those three, bar none. There's no other better movie than those three from you for the vampires. So
All right.
yeah, I'm happy with the
That Interview with the Vampire. No?
I don't even know which one.
Interview with the Vampire? Dracula?
Is that the one?
Classic Dracula?
That's
with
the
Tom
one.
Cruise and
He loves
Brad
to
Pitt?
count. He loves to count things.
No,
He's always-
that's That's the Count.
That's
Sesame Street.
That's
yeah.
that
All
was
right.
close.
All right, let's end it there.
Yeah.
Please like and subscribe, and if you agree with me or disagree with me or agree with Uble, please tell us in the comments. Tell us why you hate me or why you love him, and we will enjoy it. And as always,
Have a
dark
night.
yes.